December is traditionally the time of year when new electric cars are introduced for sale, and thus, about this time of year, we start seeing a slew of new range ratings appear on official websites as automakers and their respective dealers ready the required by law fuel economy labels that each new vehicle must carry. Earlier this week, we brought you the news that the Ford Mustang Mach E has been given its official rating in the US, confirming that it met or exceeded Ford's own internal range estimates quoted a year ago during Ford's official Mustang Mach E reveal event. And a side note, or maybe a correction. In a video earlier this week, I had a bit of number dyslexia and transposed a couple of figures around, namely the target range of the Mustang Mach E all-wheel drive standard range, which is 210 miles, 337.9 kilometers, and the actual confirmed EPA rating, 211 miles, 339.5 kilometers. Transposing those two numbers, I said that the Mustang Mach E met all but one of its range predictions, but in reality, it met and exceeded them. I'm sorry for that error. Today, just ahead of the US Thanksgiving holiday, Volkswagen's official EPA estimates for the upcoming 2021 Volkswagen ID4 dropped. And like Ford, Volkswagen's range estimates are bang on what it said it would be for its launch edition ID4 with 77 kilowatt-hour usable battery pack, 250 miles or 402 kilometers per charge. And with that, I think that it's fair to say that there are now a decent number of compact to mid-size crossovers in the electric vehicle marketplace, including the Tesla Model Y, the Kia e-Niro, the Hyundai Kona EV, the Chevrolet Bolt EV, the Ford Mustang Mach E, and of course, Volkswagen ID4. So with that in mind, let's just remind ourselves of what each offer by looking at just 4 metrics and try to decide which one might be best for you guys. Before I do though, I should reiterate that the new range test published today for the ID4 is just for the launch edition ID4 First Edition and ID4 Pro, both of which have that 77 kilowatt-hour battery pack and rear-wheel drivetrain. Volkswagen is planning on offering more options with an all-wheel drive configuration and alternative battery packs in the future. Anyway, let's look at each of these vehicles from just 4 different metrics: price, range per charge, maximum charging speed, maximum cargo volume, that's with 2 seats occupied and the rest of the seats folded down. And although we've covered each of these vehicles before in some form on the channel, I'm not going into the various other options and benefits each model offers. And I should also note that I've left out other vehicles, such as the Audi e-tron and Jaguar I-Pace, which, while they are also technically crossovers, also are in a very different market and have a much different starting price point. And of course, I am using US market figures here, and I should note that not all vehicles are available in all markets, so remember to bear that in mind. Let's talk about range first. At the tail end of the pack is the Mustang Mach E, managing 230 miles, 370 kilometers per charge in its entry-level rear-wheel drive variant. The all-wheel drive version with the same battery pack has even less range, but it's not the entry-level model, so we are not counting it here. Next up is the Kia e-Niro, which does 239 miles, 384 kilometers per charge. It's followed by the just-rated ID4 in its entry-level form with a 250-mile, 402-kilometer range. Then there is the Bolt EV with 256 miles, 412 kilometers per charge, and the Hyundai Kona EV with 258 miles, 415 kilometers per charge. Topping the range charts? Of course, it's the Tesla Model Y, which has an amazing 325 miles per charge, or 523 kilometers. Charging next. Here I need to remind you that the entry-level variants don't often have the most rapid of rapid charging. For example, both the ID4 and Mach E have slower DC quick charging on their entry-level models. And here, the lowest car on the totem pole is the Chevrolet Bolt EV, a car which comes with an optional 55 kilowatt maximum DC quick charge rate. Yes, I said optional. It's the only car on this list without DC quick charging as standard, and if you want it, you're paying $750. So technically, no DC quick charging for you in an entry-level Bolt. I don't know what GM was doing. The Kona EV is next with a maximum charge rate of just 72 kilowatts. The e-Niro is the next one with 77 kilowatts. I should also remind you at this point that we are talking maximum charge rate, which doesn't necessarily mean higher numbers charge faster because each car has a slightly different charge curve. Then we have the Mustang Mach E with a 115 kilowatt peak DC quick charge for the entry-level version, and the ID4 with 125 kilowatts maximum charge rate for the same. Tesla, well, it leads yet again with 250 kilowatts maximum charging capabilities. That is 2-0 to Tesla, but we are not done yet, so let's look at cargo space. At the bottom of the pack is the Kona EV with up to 45.8 cubic feet, 1,381 litres if you fold down the rear seats. It's followed by the e-Niro, which claims 53 cubic feet, 1,500 litres, with the rear seats folded down. The Chevrolet Bolt EV is next, being significantly smaller than some of the other cars in this list, but still managing 56.6 cubic feet, 1,603 litres, with the seats down. I should note here that while the Bolt EV has a smaller rear cargo area with the seats up than some of the other cars here, it does better with the seats down because of its high roofline. The final three on the list is of course the Mustang Mach E at 60 cubic feet, which is just shy of 1,700 litres, the ID4 with 64.2 cubic feet, 1,818 litres, and of course the Tesla Model Y with its cavernous 68 cubic feet, 1,926 litres. Again then, it is Tesla leading the pack, but in the last of our metrics, things get interesting. At this point, I should throw a bone to the fact that both the Tesla Model Y and the Chevrolet Bolt EV are no longer eligible in the US for federal tax incentives, at least at the time of writing and filming this. This is because their respective car companies have both sold more than 250,000 plug-in cars that was set out in federal tax law, at which incentives are no longer available. And while this doesn't change the fact that the Tesla Model Y is the most expensive car by a long way, it does mean that the Chevrolet Bolt EV is not the cheapest, but let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Oh, and by the way, figures quoted are MSRP, which is before any mandatory fees or before any applicable incentives. At a hair under $50,000, the Model Y comes in as the most expensive, followed by the Ford Mustang Mach E with a starting price sitting just under $43,000. Then we have the Volkswagen ID4 with its price of $39,995, which is just a smidge more than the Kia e-Niro, which starts at $39,090. The Kona EV at $37,190 looks like it is the second least expensive car, because the Bolt starts from $36,500. But because of the fact that the Kona EV is still eligible for incentives and the Bolt isn't, it's currently the most affordable EV of the bunch we're looking at. And that is quite interesting because it wasn't for some time. Which leaves us where? Tesla wins when it comes to range, charging speed, and cargo carrying capabilities. And of course, it does have the option to add more expensive things like full self-driving in the future. However, we are talking base-level cars here, and it also doesn't change the fact that it's also the most expensive car on the list, even if it's the best in every other regard. The e-Niro is probably one of the better mixes between range, cargo, and sub-$40,000 price tag, but it's let down by its maximum charge rate and sub-60 cubic foot cargo space. That said, it also offers more standard features than, say, the Chevrolet Bolt EV, and while we haven't gone into the specifics for this quick video, it is certainly something you should examine. The Mustang Mach E and ID4, though? As newcomers, I think they have slotted really well into this lineup. They're certainly better suited to life as a family crossover than many of the smaller options in the list, and I think both will sell well. And because they've got newer battery packs, and newer charging technology, and are newer vehicles, they do also benefit from faster charging rates. The downside, though? The extra price, especially for the Ford. So there you have it. The compact to mid-size electric crossover market is most certainly here, and I want to know which you'd pick and why. Leave your thoughts below. That's it for today. As always, thanks to the folks on my right for being our $15 to $49 a month Patreons. Special thanks to our $50 a month Patreons, John Lyons, Regine Fellows, Jeffrey Songster, and Tesla in the Gong. And our deepest gratitude to our $100 a month Patreon supporters. That's Marcel Ward, Reggie Watts, JP Fagerback, Sean Ueda, Will Graylin, and Ian. You can join all of these amazing Patreon supporters by becoming one yourself through following the links below. You'll even find a link so you can send us a donation through Ko-fi or Bitcoin. You'll also find a link to our free Discord server, so sign up and come and join in the fun. And if you are still looking for some swag for the holidays, do check out our merch store over at Redbubble. It is, of course, the holiday season, and now is a great time to get yourself some TE swag for your loved ones, and in the bargain, you get to support the channel. After the names are finished scrolling, you will see a suggestion for a new video, so please consider watching it if you haven't, and I will be back very, very soon. Thanks for joining me, and as always, keep evolving!